When did you watch the real world slap a spoiled brat straight across the face? At my first corporate job, I got paired with Madison for a huge client presentation. She was the CEO's daughter, fresh out of college, designer everything, and had never actually worked a day in her life. From day one, she made it clear she was above the grunt work. I'm more of a big picture person, she'd say, filing her nails while I handled research, data analysis, and slide creation. 2 weeks into the project, she started taking credit for my work in team meetings. As I was researching, she'd begin, presenting findings I'd spent hours compiling. I stayed quiet, thinking maybe she'd contribute eventually. She didn't. Instead, Madison started telling our boss how much she was carrying the project. She'd walk into his office after I'd submitted reports and say, "Here's what I've been working on." Meanwhile, I'd get vague feedback like, "Madison says you need to step up your game." The breaking point came when she forwarded my entire presentation draft to the client, with her name as the sole author. That's when I started documenting everything. Screenshots of our shared drive showing who created what files, email timestamps proving who sent what to whom, even recordings of our meetings where she admitted she hadn't done the research. 3 days before the presentation, Madison panicked. The client had follow-up questions about technical details she didn't understand because she hadn't done any actual work. "Can you just write up some quick answers?" She texted me at midnight. "I'll present them tomorrow." I replied, "What answers? You're the expert on this project, right? Don't be difficult. You know I've been busy with other priorities." Her other priorities included 3-hour lunches and leaving early for spa appointments. The next morning, she cornered me at my desk. "Look, I know we haven't been the best team, but I really need your help with these client questions. I thought you said you were carrying this project?" Her face turned red. "I never said that." I pulled out my phone and played a recording from our team meeting where she literally said, "I've been doing most of the heavy lifting on this project." She went pale. "You can't record people without permission." "Actually, I can. I checked with HR. One-party consent state." The day of the presentation arrived. The client, our boss, and the entire executive team were there. Madison walked in looking confident in her $300 blazer. "I'm excited to share what I've been working on," she began, clicking through slides she'd never seen before. The first technical question came 5 minutes in. "Can you explain the methodology behind this analysis?" Madison froze. "Well, the methodology is comprehensive, but specifically, what statistical model did you use? The standard one?" Our boss looked confused. The client looked annoyed. "I think there might be some confusion," I interrupted. "Madison, didn't you say yesterday that you weren't familiar with the technical details?" She shot me a death glare. This is a team effort." "Absolutely," I agreed. "So let me clarify the methodology since I ran the analysis." For the next hour, I answered every question flawlessly, while Madison sat there silent. The client was impressed. Our boss was taking notes. After the meeting, our boss pulled us both aside. "I'm confused about something," he said. "Madison, you've been telling me you're leading this project, but you couldn't answer basic questions about your own work." "It's complicated," she stammered. "Actually, it's not," I said, pulling out my documentation folder. "Here's the evidence of who created what files, who conducted which research, and who wrote every section of this presentation." I showed him timestamps proving I'd created 100% of the content, while Madison had contributed exactly 0 original work. "And here," I continued, playing another recording, "is Madison explaining to the team last week how she's been doing most of the work." Our boss's face went from confused to furious. "Madison, is this true? Everyone's just jealous because of who my father is," she said, playing her final card. "Your father didn't hire you to take credit for other people's work," he replied coldly. Madison was fired that afternoon, not for being the CEO's daughter, but for academic fraud and misrepresentation to clients. The best part? She tried to complain to Daddy, but he backed the firing decision. Turns out he'd specifically told management not to give her special treatment. Last I heard, she was blaming office politics and jealous coworkers for getting fired from 3 different jobs. The client loved our presentation so much they doubled their contract. I got promoted to Madison's old position and a 30% raise. Sometimes the real world doesn't just slap spoiled brats across the face. It drop kicks them into reality.